Hi everyone, I'm Dean Baas with Michigan State University Extension, and I'm standing here at the North Central Research Station near St. John's, Michigan, and what I'm standing in is some cover crop demonstration plots. This is made up of 42 different either species or a mixture of species, and we planted this after it was burned down with Roundup, was worked up, and we planted these plots on June 22nd. And there's some things that are really obvious about this demonstration. This is a good demonstration because a lot of you guys out there hear about a lot of cover crops. And you're saying, well, is that going to work in my system? How do I find out more about it? And I just want to talk a little bit in general about cover crop selection, and this is some great examples of what you're faced with when you're looking at selecting a cover crop. Now, one of the things that happened here was the fact that we planted them fairly early in the year, planting them in June, mid-June like we did. That is probably appropriate for something like a prevented planting, or if you have a field that you just decide not to plant, you want to get some cover crops on it, this is showing you what's going to happen. What I tell people is you have to think like the cover crop you're going to plant. Plants grow based on certain climates, certain conditions, and honestly, a lot of the cover crops we plant, we do not plant them during the time period where they would actually be planted if you were growing them as a crop, either for forage or as a crop for grain. We plant them off their cycle, and this is the type of thing that can happen when you do that. So when you look around here, first of all, you do see we have a lot of weeds. There's a lot of weed pressure, and what happened for a lot of these cover crops is the weeds beat them out of the ground. It was not the ideal time to be growing that cover crop. We have a lot of grasses in here. You can hardly find a lot of the grasses. There's a couple back here, and they tend to be spring type grasses, oats, spring barley. Any of our winter type grasses, cool season grasses, did not do well under this scenario. The things you do see that did well are warm season annuals. And what kind of a summer did we have? It was a pretty hot June, and that really stands out here. You can see over here we've got our millets. This back part is Japanese millet. This front part is pearl millet. That open spot back there, that's foxtail millet. That did not do well at all. That didn't come up. And if you look at these, probably what did the best, and one of the experiences we found in Michigan, is a pearl millet probably does the best as far as a millet. We go over here, more warm season grasses. This is Sudex in the back and sorghum in the front. Again, they like heat. They do really well when you have a lot of heat. And we're getting a lot of biomass out of those. Some of you have asked me about, should I put cowpeas into my cover crop mix? Well, we've got a pretty nice stand of cowpeas here. And again, cowpeas like hot weather. So we've got a really nice stand of cowpeas. Now, I have to caution everybody because you're not always going to get these types of results with your warm season grasses. If we have a cool summer, cool wet summer, a lot of these will not perform very well. And what you would find in these plots, the cool season cover crops would perform better than these warm season cover crops. That brings us to the idea of mixes. That's a reason why you may want to consider doing a mix, because then you can include some of these warm season type cover crops, and you can also include some cool season cover crops. No matter what type of a year you get, you'll get something that will thrive and survive those conditions and give you a decent cover. So give some thought to the type of plants you're going to plant, when you're going to plant it, and what its normal growing season is when you're looking at making cover crop decisions.